Going live.
Are we up?
Yes.
Hi there everyone, welcome to a live stream here with me, Jenny Kirk, and today we're going to be talking about the...
Do I not get an introduction?
Oh yeah,
Hello.
Cupboard Monkeys being annoying. Now you might recognise the venue. This is the Cupboard Monkey's lair. The Cupboard Monkey has been usurped into the bath, and I'm going to be talking about the Bachmann Autumn 2020 announcements. And of course, Bachmann doing the quarterly announcements. So basically, 4 times a year, we get kind of like a mini announcement rather than the big announcement that we saw from Hornby and also from Bachmann in previous years. Now, I did cover the first one this year, and it was a bit disappointing, and I did say so at the time. But essentially, this time round, it's quite interesting what we've got coming from Bachmann. So you should already be able to see on the screen. I think one of the big announcements for a lot of people is the sound-fitted tank locomotives, the Midland tank locomotives. So these are the 044s, previously announced in the regular liveries of Midland Railway, which is one I've been keeping my eye on for a while. The LMS one and the BR one, but these are now coming out sound fitted. Now, I think these prices on the Bachmann website are possibly wrong, because £150 is actually a really good price for a brand new sound fitted loco these days. So I suspect that that is the price of the non-sound fitted ones, and somebody's made a bit of a boo-boo there. We're also seeing LMS Twin number 10,000 joining its sister in the range. And actually, this is probably a pretty good move. If they've got one, they might as well have the other. We've got quite a few people in the chat room. JCD Blade, yes, we will be covering Graham Farish announcements as well. Rule 1 Model Railways, hi to you. Ania Oriti, hi to you. Gwion Reese Davies, ahoy to you too. I do hope I'm pronouncing your first name correctly. I'm pronouncing it as Gwion, but I'm very much aware that I could be mangling the pronunciation of that, and I do apologise. Hidcote East, hi to you. Hollybrook Junction, big hi to you. Wardle Road, good to see you. And yes, Northern Line stock, and this is actually, I think, probably the big announcement of today, is the EFE rail range. And what I'm going to try and do, let's just scroll down past some of this other stuff. A lot of this is, in fact, I'm thinking, yeah, it's things like this industrial gatehouse. We had one of these on our GMRC layout. So here you see that the Hymex, these actually really surprised me. So I think they are 00. I'm just looking now. Come on, tell us. It doesn't tell us what scale these are. I think they are 00. But these are in the EFE rail range. And these really have come from nowhere. Of course, Helgen have a class 35 in their range. But these really kind of caught me unawares. They've got an 8-pin decoder socket. Let's just see, there's no other information. Really interested to see these. Of course, we've got the DJ models, J94, Hunslet Austerity, reappearing. But what I will say about this is that they have actually redone some of the faults on the chassis. So it is really nice to see this model reappear. Now, there was a suspicion. Again, see, this doesn't give the scale either, but... Oh, no, there we are. 00 scale. So, EFE rail. I know, because they're doing both. So, there you are. Oh, 00 gauge. Interesting. And I think that the Class 17 and the Mermaid in N gauge that are also in this range, I think they may have been DJ models as well. But I'm really interested to see... these reappearing. Now this really caught my eye. The NCB blue and yellow. That almost looks like an EP prototype. It's a very eye-catching livery. Let's see. Can we actually? There we go. That is a strange livery. I think that's a chalk and cheese one, to be honest with you. I'm looking at that and it doesn't look right to me. It needs a heavy weathering. With the blue all over the smoke box door, it does look very peculiar. But I believe that the deficiencies with the motor and the chassis have been fixed by Bachmann / EFE rail. And yeah, I think somebody said, yeah, Brockwell Lane says, looks like the EFE rail range is much like what Oxford Rail is to Hornby. Maybe a bit cheaper. Helgen 35 is a weird one. I don't think it's from Helgen. I'm sure it's not from Helgen. I'd be very surprised if it's from Helgen, because what's it doing in this range? But I'll just stick with these. This one looks very nice. I think this is going to be a very popular one with the weathering. That does actually look to be a really good weathering on there. But is this enough better than the Hornby Hunslet Austerity to actually warrant the money? Now, we've got a good air gap there, you can see, under the boiler, and the wheels look better. Let's go back. Let's see now. £170. That is quite expensive for an 060 tank locomotive. I discounted, in fact, I do have a link in the description box, and big hello to Wardle Road and David Codsmart and Bachmann one as well. Really, really good to see you all. And somebody said, yeah, in real life, the J94s would be just completely black. Let me just try and bring this up. I'm on a Mac here. I'm not used to a Mac, so let me just Command V. And so excuse the black screen at the moment. We're just going to wait for that to come up. Let me just scroll back down in the chat, see what you guys are all saying. Come on. No, don't go full screen, stupid thing. Why has it done? No. What are you doing, you stupid computer? I have no idea what made it do that. 57305 Northern Princess. Noah, a cupboard monkey. I'm absolutely fine. Ian White, hi to you. McBenman 1. No, this is not the Hornby stream. The Hornby stream comes, I think it's about 6 o'clock tonight, so do stay tuned for that. But I've actually got here, because I'm anticipating these, this is the Hornby Hunslet Austerity. Got here Wimblebury, weathered. It does actually have the air gap under the boiler in part. The wheels could do with improving, and I'm actually really surprised here that Hornby, anticipating that somebody had bought the DJ models tooling, I am very surprised that we haven't had almost like a wrecking tactic from Hornby. I think that's probably the wrong way to say it, but certainly kind of heading off at the pass and re-releasing their Hunslet Austerity with a warmed over chassis and making it DCC ready and fitting some coupling NEM pockets in there. They could have actually headed this off at the pass, come in at a much lower price, and kind of protected their tooling interests. But as far as I can tell, there's no sign of that happening from Hornby. So I think that this is actually, Bachmann have almost got a free pass on this. And let's just see now. Right, so we've got the Bachmann Autumn launch. So let's go and see what the retail prices are looking like for these. So this coming up, apparently I did look at the video. This is held back a little bit because of some tooling changes to cater for its particular detailing. The VDA and the VBA and the I think, yeah, we've just got the VDA and VBA vans, always very welcome. We've also got a few new liveries of the Class 66 announced, still at that lower price. They are definitely keeping up that competition against Hattons. They really weren't happy with Hattons, it has to be said, for coming into competition. We've got sound fitted versions as well of this announced. There's the 10,000, so 157.20. This is on Rails of Sheffield. We've got a link in the description if you want to get yourself here to pre-order any of these. I have heard the Midland tank, the sound fitted version. It does sound quite nice. So we've got £212.45. That's probably about par for the course for a sound fitted loco, brand new, from Bachmann. So no scary price increases, it has to be said. So is there another page to this? I'm just looking down. Now that's our lot on those. So let's go back, and again, like I said, you can find the link to these in the description box down below. We've also cut and pasted that into the chat. Let's see, can we oops, no, don't just delay and then put it in twice. I'm turning into my father, I have to say. He's kind of allergic to computers. The older he gets, the worse he gets. And I've gone from being able to actually handle Windows 3.1 quite well. I am now lost at sea. But yeah, we're waiting for the Scenecraft, the EFE range to get listed for the actual retail prices here on Rails. So we will come back to that, but let's go back now. I mean, the EFE rail range, I think for me, is the highlight of this. So we've got, this is actually a livery. I've not seen Hornby do this livery. I stand to be corrected. What are you doing, stupid computer? Just bring me the thing. This looks pretty nice. I've not seen this livery since Daypole held the tooling. So that is really nice to see. Wagoner. With the nameplates on the side there, it's really, really nice, I have to say. I am liking their choices of liveries. The detail on the XDJ models one is quite nice. It is slightly more refined than the Hornby one. But is it enough better to justify that price? Keith Pointer says, what's the price in eBay, Jenny? I don't know. These haven't really been released. Gamehammer Classic Gaming. Previously, she did all her live streams via my VTech, my first laptop. No, Fisher Price, my first laptop. Yeah, I think, you know, bear in mind that this is the full RRP. They will get discounted from this. Ben Davis. Hi, Jennifer. When is the live stream for Hornby today? Oh, sorry, what is the live stream for Hornby today about? The live stream from Hornby today is I built a layout for them and filmed it. I wasn't going to tell them anything else, Cupboard Monkey. So if you want to find out what that was about, one of the super secret projects, it's really exciting. That's being shown today. I think it's from 6. So that's nothing to do with new Hornby announcements. So essentially, right, Jammy Dodger the Gamer, what is EFE? EFE stands for Exclusive First Editions. They originally started out doing die-cast models. I remember them certainly in the 1990s, but they've been either taken over or distributed by Bachmann Europe, and they've now expanded the range. And I think that a lot of these are models that, let's just go back and have a look at some of the other liveries. Models that came from other ranges, bought up from DJ Models in the main here. This is always a popular livery, the Longmoor Military Railway livery. I've a feeling 196 was the one that we had from Hornby many years ago. So hopefully that's a different identity. Yeah, Guion Reese Davies, absolutely correct. Just a thought though, aren't the J94s like 50% more expensive than the DJM models? You're absolutely right, and that is potentially a bit naughty in some respects, but we're going to leave the talk about prices a little bit for another day. This one really is like, if you want something really super eye-catching, this caught my eye. It really doesn't look right without a big coat of grime for me. And I think that Bachmann, well, stroke EFE Rail, I think that this would have been a good candidate for factory weathering. I mean, that funnel and smokebox door look completely wrong in that blue, and the inside of that cabin yellow. Please, please, Bachmann, consider releasing this as a factory weathered option. I think you will find it will sell much better. EFE, Jammy Dodger the Gamer, exclusive first editions is what they EFE stands for, or at least it certainly did. Wagoner was based over at Shoebury Ness on the MOD. Interesting. McBenman 1, yeah, the J94 stroke Hunslot Austerities are really, really nice. Upwell and onwards, hello Jenny, any upcoming releases you're looking forward to? The Tube Stock, the J94s, I think both of those, Tim J.D. Dowd, I think that this is ruined by not actually being weathered. Seeing that weathered, it would look so much better. So please, 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 Bachmann, if you do see this, do consider actually releasing this as a factory weathered model. I think you'll find it will sell an awful lot better, because that looks a bit garish like that. Yeah, you know, it's obviously modelled on a real livery, but it would not have looked like that for long. We've got a Next 18 DCC decoder socket. That seems to be becoming the new de facto standard. And it's got the same magnetic smoke box door method of fitting that some of the new Daypol models have, and that really is a boon, I have to say. So certainly the model itself, I think that's going to be a good model. In terms of prices, my prediction is that this one here, the mouse pointer is circling, expect to see that marked down if they don't bring that out as a weathered version. Expect to see this one sell out quickly. Although £20 premium for factory weathering, is that worth it? Yeah, again, this one premium on that. Bear in mind that I noticed actually they've not done an LNER version, and that's probably quite wise, because I still see places like Hereford Model Centre are still trying to sell the DJ Models version in the LNER livery. I think they're down to like a knockdown price of something like £70 or £60. They really are getting quite cheap. Let's just see, is there... No, there's only 6. So let's go to the Tube Stock. This is really catching people's eyes. But what else is catching people's eyes is the price, £349.95. We will go back to the Rails website. This actually, SLD51 says this is actually DJ Models. Yeah, definitely. A lot of these are ex-DJ models, but this, I think, has always been in the EFE range as non-motorised. We now see it motorised, and it is DCC ready. This is what has caught my eye. Interior lighting, cordless motor in each driving car. So it's basically got 2 driven bogies. Plux 22 DCC decoder sockets. Oh, 2. That's a bit greedy on it. You'd have thought that they'd do it all from the one decoder. Plux 22, quite common on the continent, but only now starting to see them come through on DMUs, principally actually from Bachmann. They are available actually. My normal sponsor Train-O-Matic do Plux 22 decoders, so they are quite easy to get hold of. Provision for a Sugar Cube speaker to be fitted. I'll be honest with you, I would have thought that they would pre-fit the speakers, but yeah, somebody's just said they are now. The price is coming up on, is it Command R for refresh on a Mac? Yeah. So Command R, there we go. Good work, Oliver. I know he's hard at work putting these up, so a big shout out to Oliver at Rails. As I said before, we've got a link in, I've just put it into the chat if you want to head over to Rails and pre-order any of these. That's actually a much more, well, it's still expensive, $297.45, but certainly I expect these are going to sell well when you compare it to the S stock, going for like, I've seen them go up to like £5,000 on eBay. I mean, they must be being shilled at that. Nobody is that stupid. Definitely I think this is going to sell well despite that price. These are interesting. I think these are ex-Kerno Rail exclusives, may even have been made for Kerno Rail by Bachmann. I'm not sure who was actually the manufacturer, but they're about par for the course on the price, so I think they're favourable prices, and actually a much more favourable uplift of it's about £2.50 or so on for the weathered. So we're looking at 144.45 for the weathered Hunslet Austerity and 127.45 for the unweathered. That puts it into the kind of bracket that we were seeing the Hornby new Prairie tanker. I think they're 125.99, so a couple of quid more expensive than your Hornby 262 Prairie tank. For me, the standout one in this range is the Amazon that you've got here. That one I really do like the look of. This one is eye-catching, but for all the wrong reasons. Again, please, Bachmann, consider doing that as a weathered release. I think you'll find it'll sell better. The Helgen, can anybody right, Cheshire Line says it's a collaboration with Kerno. They are still made by Kerno. Jay says, I can't imagine Sam's Trains buying one anytime soon at those prices. Au contraire, I think you'll find he will be buying some of these, and I don't think that will sway him. Sam does very well out of YouTube, so I think he can afford some of these and will undoubtedly review some, so do check out his channel for some of those reviews, and I, of course, as well, if I get any of these, will be reviewing them. SLD51 says, I think Helgen and Bachmann use the same Chinese manufacturer. Now, I'm not sure actually whether I'm supposed to say this or not, but it was told me sort of openly by a person in the trade at Worley. But Helgen actually make a lot of the Hatton's originals as well. SLD51 says, I love the bright colours. Yeah, I think it will appeal to some people. But can anybody tell me who is actually the Helgen? Sorry, not the Helgen. The Hymex, the Class 35 Hymex. I am intrigued by these. I will ask my contact actually at Helgen about them. But they have intrigued me no end, it has to be said. For me, the weathered blue one here looks interesting. I'm still waiting for I'm still waiting for the Helgen one with the tops number. I think it's in Dutch livery. Let's have a look. Brockwell Lane says DJ again. I don't think that the Class 35 wasn't DJ models. So this, I believe that the N-Gauge Class 17 may well have been a DJ models one. They're appearing now. 101.95, again, about par for the course for a locomotive. There's a good range coming in here. The Ribble Cement one, I've actually got that in 00 from Helgen. It's an okay model. It had its faults at the time. They have been fixed. These, I believe, may be ex-DJ models. Mermaid side tipping ballast wagon. Really jealous, actually, because I know that they were available in 00 from one of the smaller... is it Flangeways did them? Really hard to find. Simon Moppet says, Mers, that's Graham Mers, has said on his website this morning that the Hymek is made by Helgen. Now that, I think, is probably the standout collaboration on this. That has surprised me. Helgen making their main range models for a direct competitor. Now, I know they make stuff for the Hatton's brand, and there's a lot of collaboration between them, but Hatton's is more of a retailer. Bachmann are very much a manufacturer, so that is an interesting collaboration. So I will pump my contact for information on that, I think. Yeah, Ron Stanbridge, at least an 8-pin chip. Yeah, I guess that is the giveaway. If we go back to the Hymek, 8-pin DCC. With some of these models, I think actually 8-pin DCC, Hornby have the right idea. One standard chip as far as they can. I know they've got the 6-pin and the 4-pin as well. But in terms of the 8-pin decoder, why mess about with having, Bachmann in their range have 8-pin. They have 21-pin. They have Plux 22 and Next 18 and 6-pin. 5 different DCC decoders across their range. Come on now. Now Hornby have standardized on 8-pin and 6-pin for the newer models, although there are the W4 Packet and the Sentinel have the 4-pin, although I could see them quite easily getting rejigged to just accept the 6-pin. Cheshire Line says, Helgen and Kerno are entering into this collaboration to get access to the retailer network without the Hatton's competition issue. Interesting. Now, that does make sense. Right. Now, this is interesting. So, if we read between the lines, are we seeing Hatton's being squeezed out here? It is an interesting proposition, and maybe I am just reading something that is not there, but it could well mean trouble ahead for Hatton's. Interesting. Right. Sorry, beverage of the day is Diet Cola. I don't know where the bottle's gone. It was in here. I think the cupboard monkey may have pinched it.
I have it.
Yeah, the cupboard monkey has it. But yeah, it is interesting that we're now seeing Hatton's. It's not Helgen and Bachmann working closer together. SLD51 says Hatton's is a big threat. Yes and no. I do feel that. SLD51, Bachmann hates Hatton's. I wouldn't put it that strong. I think Bachmann and Hatton's have fallen out over commercial things. It's all in the past now. My personal opinion on that was that I thought Hatton's came out of it looking better than Bachmann, but it does now seem that we're having the next round of the battle, as it were. And it'd be interesting to see how this pans out. Now, that is a livery there. The Gulf Red. I don't think we ever saw that from... Flangeways in 00. Interesting livery. Gwion Reese Davies. Most of Hornby's decoders are the same with just a different plug. Yeah, I believe the 6-pin and the 4-pin are definitely the same. But it's the same with Train-O-Matic. The standard size decoders, if you buy the 6-pin... or the 8-pin, they are the same decoder, just with a different plug wired onto them. Gwion Reese Davis took an 8-pin and converted it to a 4-pin for my packet. Yeah, I mean, I've hardwired the 8-pin decoders from Train-O-Matic into all manner of things. SLD51 says, I think they're all made in China by Cada Sandokan. Well, definitely for Bachmann, because Cada... Sandokan is their parent company, so of course it makes sense. Right. Again, as I said before, if you are looking to place an order for any of these, I've just put the link again into the chat room, so that takes you straight to Rails. Now, I'm looking at the spec actually. NEM coupling pockets allow multiple trains to be coupled together. I think they should probably add to that if you're screaming rich at this price and money's no object. But given the prices that people are paying for these online on... let me just... Hold on, this is gone... Why is it screening the chat? That's really naughty of it. Right, Brockwell Lane says, no mention of these announcements on Hatton's website. Why would there be? Because Bachmann is still refusing to supply Hatton's. Which, at the end of the day, are they in the business of making money out of selling toy trains or not? That's what they have to ask themselves. But, I'm not privy to what's going on behind the scenes. Some people think that I'm somehow got my fingers in all the pies. I haven't. They don't tell me. Keith Pointer says, there will be a price war. I think that I am expecting Hornby to announce their version of the Hunslet Austerity, possibly being made DCC ready, fitted with NEM pockets. That would be the most basic upgrade that I would see Hornby looking to do with this. Can be done. DCC fitting these is dirt easy. So DCC ready and NEM pockets. And I could see these coming out at half the price that the XDJ Models one does. And I could really see a price war going on with the Hunslet Austerity. If Helgen are partnering with Bachmann for the EFE Rail Class 35s, we will not see a price war on those. Gamehammer Classic Gaming says, toy trains, them's fighting words. SLD51, yeah, Hornby's J94 is ex-Dapol. Jay, I didn't realise there was beef between Bachmann and Hattons. I was out of the hobby for a long time up until last summer. Oh gosh, where have you been? Yes, they fell out. Basically, I think the official line was that Bachmann refused to supply what they considered to be a manufacturer. Although it's a bit hypocritical now that Helgen are now supplying another manufacturer. So, yeah, pot calling kettle there, Bachmann. You know, you're having stuff made for your range for you by Helgen. So, you know, Helgen's supplying you, you know. Right, what else have we got going on? Let's just go back now and see. Let me just go back. I'm going to refresh. We're waiting on the Scenecraft. Let's have a look at the Graham Farish announcements. I thought there was more than that. We've got Mark 1's coming out. Highland Lime Green and Cream. These do look nice. They did these in 00 a while ago. An Intercity Executive. Always a great livery. Although that's quite expensive for N-gauge coaches, it has to be said. And that's the discounted price. Let's just go back and have a look down through the... if any extras come in here. No, that seems to be all of them. So it's... You know, there is definitely there's definitely a smaller announcement. Now, what are we seeing here that's finally coming through? I know people have said don't announce new stuff until you've actually delivered other stuff. Where's the... Yeah, so we're finally seeing these. Do these actually have... Let's just have a look. Does it have a date given? I'm just looking down. Let's go back to the Bachmann website and let's see if we have got a date on. Right, come on. Right, we do have some of the other Scenecraft announcements here. Josh's train room says Scenecraft page updated. So, yep, you're absolutely right. Grand, right. We're in. We're in. What do we got here? These actually, a lot of these re-releases of previously available stuff. Oh no, it's N-gauge. I was looking at that thinking actually the prices have come back down. We got that's N-gauge. Right, it was my mistake earlier on saying, but we've already seen these. These were in the 00 range, now reappearing in N-gauge. These are all actually hand-finished. I did suspect this, but it was clarified by Bachmann, so no two are exactly the same. It does mean that if you're feeling flush, you can build a massive industrial premises with multiples of these, and they won't look like they're cut and pasted. Brogwell Lane says the Hymek will be more expensive because someone's got to take them out of the Helgen box and package them in EFE boxes. I don't think it quite works like that. But what does interest me is I'm going to go and find... there's not really much in Scenecraft. Mostly N-gauge, actually. It's nice to see these. Now, this set, the Industrial Gatehouse, Industrial Yard Office, Industrial Store and Canopy, those three are really, really nice. I can well recommend them. Very expensive in 00, but lovely, lovely models. So I'm going to... Let's see, can we find... Where's Helgen? Let's find... actually, no. Categories. Can we find Class 35 Hymek? And let's pick 00 gauge. In stock prices now, £104.50. Yeah, there is going to be price inflation, but they are. That's a bit of an own goal from Bachmann there. If these really are the Helgen models, Helgen's currently got them. Let's have a look. Yeah, these are all EFE rail. So, do we have a forthcoming date on these? No, I don't see a forthcoming date. Keith Pointer, no O gauge or 009. No N gauge, mostly Scenecraft. EFE, you'll see also the Class 17 and the Mermaid. SLD 51, have to go soon. Sorry, Jane. Don't worry. I know it's a lot of people's lunch hours. But it's been great to have you all in the stream. Ben Davis, I would like more news on the CR821 from Rails of Sheffield. I believe they're waiting on some livery samples. That is progressing. So there is progress in that, but it's not up to me to tell you. Obviously, Oliver at Rails will make that aware as they're ready to make it aware, to make it available. So as soon as I know and I'm allowed to, I will let you guys know. But the best thing to do is just keep an eye on the Rails of Sheffield Facebook page and their website. They will be putting up updates as and when they know. But yeah, definitely. I think there's a bit of an own goal here from Bachmann / EFE Rail in bringing out what seems to ostensibly be the Helgen Class 35 at an uplift of nearly... see, that's a weathered one. Yeah, that's weathered. That's weathered. So comparing... I thought there's no... In the Helgen one, there's no difference in price between weathered and unweathered, whereas there is in the EFE. So... we're looking at an uplift, if we're really fair, we're looking at an uplift of over £31. That is a lot of those saying that, you know, you're looking at, rather than just Helgen making a profit, you've got Helgen and Bachmann making a profit. So, you know, you've got more fingers in that pie. Right, I think we've pretty much gone through all of the releases. So, let's just go back to let's have a look. New Bachmann branch line. Just looking down here, there's not really a lot. What there is, I think it's a much more thoughtful set of releases than the one that we got at the start of the year. But the big news has got to be this EFE range. My top picks, I think the 1938 tube stock 4-car motorised train, 1960s Northern Line set. Seen here, pre-order from Rails of Sheffield. I'm just going to put that link in the chat again if you want to go and pre-order any of these. I predict this will be a big seller. I would say you probably need to pre-order this despite the price. When you compare with the S stock prices, this is going to sell reasonably quickly. Yeah, so there's in the product description, whilst exclusive first editions is traditionally associated with die-cast buses and road vehicles, the range of London Underground tube stock was always popular with collectors and railway modellers alike. Following Bachmann's acquisition of EFE, received many requests for motorised versions of these models, and so they've actually listened. So actually this is, I think this is a great announcement. Prices, people are going to argue about, but the price is what it is. I think that these will sell well. If you want one of these, pre-order it, or you are likely to miss out. They are going to go quick despite the price. Not so much a big surprise. I kind of knew that Bachmann had bought the tooling for the Hunslet Austerity. Excuse me. I think that out of all these different versions, I'm just looking at the chimneys. They're all the same chimney options. Excuse me. My top pick for these is this one, Amazon. I think this is going to be... I think this is going to be the top pick from the Hunslet Austerities. Definitely, I think definitely this is going to be one that sells out quick. So I think this is another one to get on pre-order if you really want it. Bizarre picks, I think this is probably my bizarre pick of the bunch. Vastly improved by weathering. I'm guessing there's a lot of people looking at that and going, actually, that's a good basis to do weathering on. And maybe that is something I could look to get and do a weathering video on and show you how to make that look properly lived in. But out of the box, my advice to Bachmann would be please, please, please consider doing this as a factory weathered version. I think you'll find it would sell a lot better, because it's reminding me of some of the toys from the 1970s, that the cheap toys from the 1970s. It really is an odd livery. Keith Pointer says, been told the new salmon wagon with Hiab on the back coming out in 00. They weren't in these announcements. But Jay says, I think my favourite is the Longmoor Military Railway livery. Not seen that before. There were at least 2 versions of this done by Hornby in probably around 2000, 2001. Not seen them from Hornby since. But yeah, it is a really beautiful livery. Longmoor Military Railway stuff does sell really well. We do have a number of different locomotives in this livery. It does complement the Frank Ross USA tank that came special edition between Model Rail and Bachmann. Also, Sir Guy Williams came out, the 280 Austerity. And the other one, can never remember its name, is Gordon Highlander. So there are a number of other locomotives to go with these. It's nice to see we've got a fully proper tooled version. My prediction is that we may see a kind of spoiler tactic by Hornby, which they're quite entitled to do, it must be said. They do have their own Hunslet Austerity, and it would be nice to see that coming out as a budget model, DCC ready with NEM pocket couplings. Big hello there to Southern Train Girl, hi to you. Gwion Reese Davies says, I read the forecast set product code as £999.99. No, I know that Bachmann do come in for a lot of criticism but on the prices, but that really would be ridiculous. Alex Pomeroy, hello all, looking forward to getting my hands on Wagoner. Looks a lovely model. Yeah, I think these Hunslet Austerities, these are going to sell very, very well. Wagoner here does look really nice. So looking at that there, again, yeah, I think that's going to be a good seller as well. I would recommend actually pre-ordering, some of these, because they are likely to prove popular. £127.45 there on Rails of Sheffield. I've just put a link in the chat again for you to be able to order them. Yeah, Keith Pointer as well, I forgot to say as well, don't forget to hit the like, share this video, and also subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. I think £127.45 is par for the course for these. As I said before, they're only a couple of pounds more expensive than the new Hornby large prairie tanks. So actually I think Bachmann have pitched these at probably about where the market's at with these. I would also suggest, of course, that tube stock. Weird ones for me, the Class 35 High Mech. I find that a strange addition to the range coming from Helgen. I think these Tiger wagons, the PBAs, they will be steady sellers. 121 people watching. Thanks for coming along and supporting me today, guys. As Gamehammer Classic Gamers put there, thank you very much. Jammy Dodger the Gamer, does anyone know where the Mark V coaches are coming out? Are they coming from a Cura scale? Soon is all I can say on that. I don't honestly know. I will perhaps drop a message to a Cura scale and just see if they can update. Brockwell Lane says, Helgen are doing new 47, 45 and 25s all in the Bachmann range. Does this mean they will work together on these? Now, that's an interesting point that I hadn't thought about. The 47, traditionally, there's always been multiple manufacturers doing those. But the 45, are we going to see that transfer over into the Bachmann range? And the 25s as well? I honestly don't know, although Bachmann, I believe, are updating their 25s. So it'll be interesting to see. Their 24-1, I believe, has an updated detailing on the chassis, the lower skirt. So maybe we'll see that transfer over to newer release models of the 24-0. I don't know, Brockwell Lane, what this actually means for other bits and pieces in the range. Has to be said that the Class 17 is another one that Helgen do in 00. Not seeing that listed here. We are getting N-gauge versions. I believe that they are ex-DJ models. If they weren't released, they must have been fairly close to release before everything went and hit the fan for them. But I'm going to, looking at the time now, we've been going for about half an hour or so, just over. We've been right through this range. So over to you guys. What do you guys think about these? What are your personal highlights from this range? I've already told you mine. Interested to see what do people think, that despite the inevitable complaining about the prices, what are you guys going to be looking to pre-order? Can we gauge which are going to be the popular models? Any thoughts from you guys? Also, have you pre-ordered any of these yet? Which of these models have motivated you to actually go, actually that is one, I really must have that? I'm really interested to hear from you. What has really tickled your fancy? Not much in the way of rolling stock, it has to be said, but certainly locomotive wise, we knew that the DJ models, Hunslet Austerity in particular, would reappear. So it's nice to see that all of the guessing on that is finally done and dusted. And I think a great surprise announcement is the motorised version of that EFE tube stock. That is one that people have been asking for. Kudos to Bachmann for listening to people's requests and bringing that out. And I think despite the price, it's going to sell really, really well. Keith Pointer, yeah, the Class 17, I think for N-gauge modelers is a good one. Prices, again, look to be about right. I think some of these prices are about right. Some do seem very expensive. The Class 35 is an odd one. Guion Rhys Davies, I think, yeah, you've got the honorary RM web comment. To be honest, nothing of interest for me this time. Waiting on the Quarry Hunslet and the GWR 94, yeah, the 94XX class, that, the pannier tank. Yeah, we've been waiting for so long, I have to say. Quarry Hunslet, for me, actually, I'm waiting for the Welsh Pony from Pico and Cato. That, for me, is what I'm really interested in 009. Simon Moppet says, Scenecraft page not changing. Is that it? Scenecraft range is mostly N-gauge looking here. So, excuse me. Yeah, we're looking at, let's just change that to 100 and see what updates. Ben Davis, I think the the Caledonian Railway 812, Rails of Sheffield, you'll get updates from with that. LMS number 10,000, I think that's going to be a good seller as well. Quite expensive there, but you can get it slightly cheaper elsewhere. And here we have the N-gauge stuff. Yeah, there is quite literally 3 coaches, a 2-pack and a single one. But there is Scenecraft N-gauge. You're finally seeing this really beautiful industrial set of being put through the shrink ray. They are a great set. I've seen them, used them in 00. They are good. Class 17, you're getting an N-gauge, and mermaids as well. So, yeah, Guion Rhys Davies, the George England from Pico and Cato. Definitely, I'm really looking forward to that. I think that is going to be the model that finally succeeds in getting a lot of people to make the change of gauge to 009. Certainly, I'm not going to be changing gauge, but certainly I will be building an 009 Festiniog themed model, and really looking forward to that. Jammy Dodger the Gamer, DB Class 66 is my fave with the sound. It is also very cheap for a sound model. And yeah, I spotted that earlier on with some of the models. The prices have changed. Bachmann have gone, oops. So these are now 249. When we first logged on, they said 149, which I said was really, really favourable, but probably a misprint. So they have updated. Guion Rhys Davies, it's nice to see the J94s live on, even at a slightly inflated price. I think with those, they have updated the motor and the chassis, addressed the big criticisms that came against that model when DJ Models did it. I think that is going to be a stalwart of the range. So interesting to see where that goes. don't think that that's the last we've seen of the Hornby version. I think Hornby would be silly not to try and hang on, maybe go for the more budget end of the market with these. So I think there's still a fight to be had there. Let's have a look. Lee Holden says, for me, it has to be the LMS BR Black Diesel. Very much so. That definitely is catching my eye as well. Let's see if we can find what prices are they available at retail for. So we're looking at £157.20. So one final time, I'm going to put the link in there if you want to pre-order those from Rails of Sheffield. Some of these I would say will sell out despite the prices. But I'm going to round this off now. I think I've talked all there is to talk about these. But thank you very much, guys. It's been great hanging out with you here and just going through and discussing some of these releases. The good, the bad, and the indifferent. And certainly there are definitely models here which I have an interest in. It's been a while since I've got excited about Bachmann releases. But for me, the standout, I think, is the J94 and the EFE tube stock. I think those two, for me, are my picks of this announcement. But until next time, you guys, you take really great care. And don't forget to tickle the like button, share the stream. And if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button. And also, check out the Hornby YouTube channel. And you'll see me again. I think it's from 6, but double check the time. And it's a big super secret project is finally breaking cover. Really excited by this. And I've been really wanting to talk to you guys about this, but it is breaking cover on Hornby. And it is one not to miss. So do be there. And looking forward to seeing you in the chat on that. So take care, everyone. The cupboard monkey has finally got out of the bath. It was quite a short bath by your standards. But I'm going to be signing off now. So you take really great care of your really great care of yourself. Take care. Bye for now.